And another thing about... Oh, we're live. Space. The final frontier. These are the voyages of the Starship Adequate. Our ongoing mission, until we are cancelled and replaced by something far superior, to review every movie and episode of Star Trek in existence. To seek out new guests. Literally. Because we've had no one
seeking out
yet.
new guests? Have we? Have we made any effort to seek out new guests?
Have we made any effort? That's the theme of tonight's
We've
poll.
had people request, and we've had people request to come on, and we've gone, yes, we will.
That's the theme of tonight's poll. Have we sought out new guests? No.
Like, there's a wealth, and we're just like, no, that's just not.
All is live. To seek out new guests and make them very uncomfortable. To boldly go where many other Star Trek-based YouTube shows have gone before. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Treks and Trekkers, especially those at STLV in Las Vegas, you lucky ducks.
Lucky ducks.
Welcome.
Little spicy bitches.
Oh, you're so lucky. You're so deliciously
you're so
hot.
lucky. Oh, look, it's Sean Ferrick in Vic's bar. Oh, I hope he's having a lovely
Sean
time.
Ferrick doing his own show in Vic's Lounge, the dirty bastard.
Here, I'd give him a right fisting.
Sean Ferrick. Ka, 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 ka. There's a whole wave of the audience going, the fuck?
I just love that the next time we meet him, he's just going to be like, so where do I start? You know, where do I start with what to complain about?
Well, you can start at the top and work yourself down.
Talented boy.
What stays in Vegas stays in my ass. So, we...
But enough about syphilis. But
Isn't that a character in a Jane Austen novel?
no, it's a no. I'm thinking of, is it syphilis? You know, from Greek mythology.
From Great Expectations.
Oh right, okay. Well,
Syphilis.
Great Expectation was syphilis.
Syphilis. Is chlamydia with you?
Oh, little chlamydia. Can I?
Oh,
We're having
syphilis.
scones on the lawn.
Oh, I'm having herpes. Yes, it was lovely. Lovely.
Oh, bring along little baby herpes as well.
Join us, won't you, and bring the ointment.
So we've done a really good
Oh
job.
no,
of
it's
getting
died. My
demonetised
headset
as
has
quickly
died.
as possible.
I mentioned the word herpes and everything shut off.
That's usually how you're dating.
And we're
goes,
back.
But, oh, you're back. Okay.
Uh,
I mentioned herpes and everyone shut off. Right. Hello, everyone in the
I think he
chat.
tried to make a comment about my dating life, and he's just like, ha ha, everyone leaves you. Ha 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 ha.
Be fucking awful. I'm just saying, like, what was it? Someone on Tinder the other day had genuinely the worst profile I've ever seen, and I took a screenshot. And I don't want to talk about it here, but I'm just like going, wow, they thought that would work. That's interesting.
Was
So,
it the
yes,
Ibiza final boss?
Yeah, you know what? I don't know if people have seen this. The Ibiza final boss is a big meme going around England where it's a guy in Ibiza who genuinely looks like a real life version of a Beano character. Like, he genuinely looks like one of the... Is it the Dandy or something with the Backstreet Kids?
I dare compare him.
Real.
I dare compare him to a little Lego figure that someone wished really hard would come to life.
That's as hard as he's ever got. But, so why are we here, Goodwill? What's going on
Why are we
today?
here?
Why
Why
have
are
you
we
brought
here?
us together?
I have gathered you here today to mourn the loss of my sanity. Hello to Chris, who is currently in STLV. I demand.
Spicy bitch.
Oh, have you seen Sean Ferrick? Have you seen Sean?
Go and see that Irish man and give him a bit of a caress.
Tell him I tell him the next time I see him I'm gonna caress his beard. Right.
I kind of needed this. Like, both me and Goodwill have had the most ludicrous week where we are just like, I finished watching the episode 5 minutes before we went live. Like, that is how hectic this week has been. So it is quite. We are basically doing that whole like sort of getting it out of our systems because we're that pent up because of busyness.
I for those that don't know, I'm obviously I started a new job and this week has been insane. I've been doing 12-hour, 13-hour shifts at the moment because there's just that much to do. So I got home late last night because normally what I do on the Thursdays, because I avoid all spoilers for Strange New Worlds, so I get home, I watch the show, and then I set up the stream for tonight. So I get all the images, all the material, queue it all up, put the loading screen and everything like that. I didn't last night. I went to bed and then I woke up this.
You sleep?
I do now. Yes, I woke up this morning and I went, yep, I've made a mistake. So I said, I will have plenty of time. I will finish work on time and I will come home. I will rewatch Strange New Worlds because I watched it at 11 p.m. last night. I will rewatch Strange New Worlds, queue everything up. It will be fine. Then I finish late tonight as well. So I literally had an hour to get everything set up. So I'm very, very tired. Very, very tired. But I'm looking forward to this review. So hello to Crimson. Hello to the Transporter Room. Hello to Sarah, my Twitch bully, who has decided to grace us with the presence. Unfortunately, she's probably unbelievably angry that there's no redeemables to torture with me. But welcome to everyone who has joined in. Obviously, all of our friends at the moment, quite literally all of our friends, most of our friends, are at STLV where we are not this week. So we are totally not jealous.
Next year.
We will be there with bells on next year. It is Star Trek's 60th anniversary. I do have a little savings pot put away for Vegas next year if the world is not on fire. So we will be there with bells on to torture Sean if he does another panel. I need my Star Trekking. You're having it. This is quite literally what the show used to be called. Shut up, enjoy it. We are here.
Just telling viewers to shut up.
Shut up.
Shut up. Be quiet, viewer man. And
Quiet now. Quiet or get the cane. I have a cane somewhere. Oh no, it's in my torture room, aka the bathroom. We are here to. I like to punish the toilet when it's been a bad boy. We are here to review this. Synoiz is like, I want to go to
can
bed.
we please get to the episode?
No! No!
We literally had a discussion about last week. We were like, it took us like 40 minutes to get to the episode. And then I'm just like, no. It's this instinctive urge to just be like, hey, should we just not talk about the thing that we're meant to be talking about?
Well, very much like spending time with me in person. What feels like hours has only been minutes because this is just minute 10 of this show. So, but yes, we are here to review this week's episode of Star Trek Strange New Worlds through the lens of time. And I have mixed feelings about this episode. I think it is one of the more Star Trek-y episodes that we have had for a while, but it's also let down again by multiple plot holes and unexplained things throughout the episode, and it left me wanting more. And the more I watched it, the more I felt myself checking the runtime of the episode to go, they've only got 20 minutes left. Are they going to explain it? Are we going to find out what's happening? And then, yeah. So I enjoyed it, but I have issues with it.
I feel the same. Like, I think this might be the episode that we agree on in terms of, you know what this felt like? This felt like a very big plot crammed into a single episode. If there was ever a case for Strange New Worlds needing a two-parter, I'd say it was this. Like, if this was previous Trek, I think what they would have done is they would have done the first episode all about the sort of the temple and stuff like that, and then had the second episode about Ensign Gamble.
Oh.
Is that that kind of thing where they have a two-parter and then they kind of go like, hey, we prelude stuff in the first part, and then we kind of resolve the first thing, and then in the second part we're like, oh yeah, here's the consequences and stuff. That's probably, and then it would have given everything more time to breathe, because the problem with the episode was, wow, there's so many great topics in this and so many sort of amazing things that they could have expanded on, and then you just go, I don't think we're going to see anything more about any of this, and it was all just kind of crammed into a 50-minute episode.
So just before we do get into the amuse-bouche that is this episode, I would like to just issue a spoiler alert. If you have not seen this week's episode of Strange New Worlds and you don't want it spoiled for you, tune off now and tune in later on when you have seen it.
Yeah.
First,
or turn the sound off.
Or turn the sound off. Turn the sound off. And I will
something better. Like put on like Peppa Pig or something over the top.
No, put on Sinead O'Connor, and I will review the episode through the medium of interpretive dance and maybe a sock puppet.
Well,
I am devastated that I was so excited that when we got Ensign Gamble, did you say?
Yeah, Gamble.
I was so excited when he joined.
If I was doing like sort of a Sean Ferrick and did an ups and downs episode, this would definitely be a sort of
Trillion down.
In the capacity of like you know how we like take the mick out of like Discovery for going, hey, you know those characters and they don't get named until the episode they die. That's exactly what happens here, because the last couple of episodes we've been
never take the mick out of Discovery.
Science ensign. He's the science ensign, the medical ensign and stuff. And we're like, did he get a name? I don't think it's been mentioned. And then here he got a name, and because it's Strange New Worlds, I didn't immediately get worried. But then full on red shirt kind of thing. He was just a red shirt.
He was such a likable character as well. But
that's good writing.
It
makes it more shocking. They quickly make him likable, and then it makes it actually, rather than just being like, oh, someone who I never even knew died, and they're making a big fuss about it. Okay,
Discovery.
I desperately wanted to know what was going on with that cyborg woman. And then finally she gets an episode, and then she's dead, and you're just like, I hate this.
Sarah Mitch.
I hate this way of writing.
Sarah Mitch is a wonderful person. I actually met her at SDLV last year. She now hosts a wellness podcast on I can't remember what it was, but if you search her on Instagram, you'll see it. The internet. Thank you very much. That newfangled thing called the web.
Done by like pigeons or something, then it's not going to have the best viewership in the world.
It's a podcast via Morse code, you idiot. Why would they do it? But
by the beacons of Gondor.
By the beacons of Gondor.
The beacons are lit. Gondor calls for aid. No, the podcast is starting.
Alert Paramount before they cancel it. But we with this episode, for those who don't know, I have a huge thing, and I also have a phobia about anything to do with eyes. So when that happened to Gamble,
Yeah.
I literally did what every teenager does and hid under the covers when that happened, because I was like, oh God, it was gruesome. But this led me on to my thing, because I mentioned this last week. The age ratings for Star Trek Strange New Worlds is bipolar as fuck on Paramount Plus. So it is literally 12, 15, 12, 12, 15, 12, all the way through. And I'm like, why are you like increasing the age for one and then not the other? And it's like, that's not how a series, if it's a film, it's one classification. If it's a series, that's not how it works, because people are not going to go, sorry, you're 14, you'll miss 7, 8, and 2. And
it is a weird thing, though, where it's like going, yeah, they should get the whole series and do it on like the highest rank and be like, hey, this series has a 15 episode, so it's a 15 for every episode. Because
it should be, yeah.
What is the point of, when it's an episodic thing, just to be like, oh, you can't watch this one? I mean, if it was like old Star Trek where the episodes didn't really have an overarching arc, you know, like, and you could just jump between any episodes and you'd kind of get through. But with this, it's like, no, it's not going to make any sense if you skip that. And there's no way that it's going to have future episodes without going, oh yeah, his eyes exploded. You know, it's... But
I don't know why. I'm just getting the synopsis for the episode before we dive in as well.
It might describe the situation better than me. But
I apologize. I am so incredibly tired. I'm trying to find the synopsis. Where is the synopsis? Damn your memory, Alpha.
But it's a really interesting episode because effectively, like,
well, clearly Michael wasn't old enough for this episode.
But yeah, it's kind of, I think it's great what they did with Ensign Gamble, because we didn't see him as, because I was complaining, I was like, oh, more characters to flesh out, and yet we still haven't fleshed out people like Pellier and Ortegas and stuff. But then realizing that they were actually just writing well and doing the long game of kind of, hey, we need red shirts for this series. And so yeah, it does worry you a little bit about well, the fact is that as we get further into Strange New Worlds, every single character potentially has a target on their back, aside from Chapel, Umbenga, and Spock, I'd say, and Uhura, obviously.
So the brief rundown of this episode is that the Enterprise has arrived at an alien planet, and Dr. Roger Corby has been given permission by the locals of this planet to do archaeological research because he is looking for evidence of an ancient advanced alien race that he believed has evolved or found the secret to immortal life in the ways of basically transferring their consciousness, downloading their consciousness, so they could live for eternity. Now, I'm kind... Again, we go into these episodes and the Star Trek universe as a whole, and again, I'm kind of disappointed because this would have been ripe to reference the Iconians.
Yeah.
From Star Trek lore. An ancient, advanced alien race that were, you know, they had the ability to travel throughout the galaxy and beyond. It would have been brilliant if they were able to tie this in with like the natural evolution of the Iconians, and that is why they disappeared. You know, that is why they left after 50,000 years or whatever. Never did. And again, there's a lot of this through the episode where they tantalizingly tease things throughout, and you go, oh, I want to know more about that. I want to learn more. Oh, this is so good. And nothing comes of it. Nothing happens with it.
You know what? I'm going to play devil's advocate, though. I actually would have been annoyed if it was the Iconians, because they are kind of like the be-all and end-all of stuff. Like, I mean, it's the fact of like in my head canon, the Iconians are the founders. I just much prefer that as like lore.
Really?
Yeah, I really like that as like that's my head canon of because obviously the woman who plays the female changeling is the woman
Oh,
who
that's
plays
not
the
the
Iconian.
Iconians. That is not the Iconians.
Oh, is it
No,
not? I thought it was
no,
the.
no, no.
Oh,
The Iconians were an advanced alien. No,
I
so
know that they
those
built all
ones,
the
yeah.
teleporters and stuff because we've got the Iconian Gate in DS9, and then in
Yes.
TNG we've got it where they get all things. I thought that that was the same race that did
No, 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 no.
scattered
They
all
were
of the stuff.
no,
Okay,
they were
well,
the
either
they were
way,
the first. They were I think the first sentient race in the galaxy. But this
yeah.
delves into
I
the
see
themes
that
of
first
yeah,
sentient one. I see as being the founders and that
yeah,
them having a link, even though they've
yeah,
said there isn't. But it's that whole thing of in my head canon, it's like that. But the Iconians, I think the issue is though that like I kind of like the idea of having multiple ancient cultures because we find it so much in sci-fi that there's only just one race, and you're like, it's a whole galaxy. Are you telling me that there was literally only one race active for like millions of years? You know, like look at Metroid where you've got like the Chozo and stuff, and you're like, and that's it. No, none of the rest are around then. But then the others aren't descended from that. Okay, right. That's convenient. I kind of like the idea of this bringing new lore into it in not in a ham-fisted way, but in a kind of like going, there's stuff more ancient than the Iconians that,
yeah.
and there's things that have been locked away for like even longer, in that kind of yeah, the Iconians happened, but they weren't the only thing active back then. I mean, because this episode very much suggests that the Gorn are ancient, because it has a bit that happens
Well,
later on
they've
where it
already
kind of goes,
alluded
hey,
to this. That they have
yeah,
already alluded to this with the first episode. To basically, when essentially the Gorn have been misunderstood, and they came to the realization that the Gorn are actually a superiorly advanced race
yeah.
that don't
People are
communicate via
seeing them as
traditional
like sort
methods.
of primitive. They're seeing
Yeah,
them as primitive, and actually they're hyper evolved, which is a
yeah.
fascinating way of doing it, I think.
And I think it's a good link because we see that in this episode that the Gorn are linked to this ancient evil as well. And what I really got excited. I mean, this is the Mass Effect in me talking, but I really got excited when we saw the Tomb Raiders bodies and he took the helmet
Yeah.
off. I honestly thought it was a Prothean. I thought it was a Prothean when they took the head off, and I was like, oh my god, are they going to make the Protheans canon? Are they going to link it all together? But that's just me. But this is Star Trek boldly going and exploring. This is pure exploration in a Star Trek sense, where we're exploring strange new worlds, but these ancient alien mysteries, and it alludes to like the theories that are circling, in present day, where they go, humanity was helped by ancient aliens that guided the evolution, or the other theories that humanity was genetically modified at some point to workers or whatever like that by another alien race. And with this one, when we saw the Chinese writing on that, I was like, are they going to allude to like these are some type of creators, or this is like maybe humanity in a different, like another evolve? What are they going to do with it? Do you know, like my mind was firing with all these theories. I was like, well, why would Chinese writing be on a plinth hundreds of light years from Earth in an ancient alien thing? Are these people, were these people, like you said, the I can't remember what they're called now, the original founders of like sentient life in the galaxy? Were they some ancient aliens that visited Earth and guided them, and then they did this through various planets, and that's why this alien race is based on them and stuff like that? We got
can
nothing.
only theorize. I hope that it'll be fleshed out more in the rest of the show. However, it becomes one of these things like the Iconians, where they just now exist in Star Trek lore, and we just go like, hey, someone else that's a sort of there for someone else to elaborate on and create a whole thing. Or if you Discovery, just ignore it and make up your own stuff.
But with the statue that they said, you know,
just to say, hi, another space nut. I hope you're enjoying
hello,
your cooking.
another space nut.
What are you cooking? And also, Misha, what do you? Is Scotty in season 3? He is. Scotty is in season 3.
He's in season 3. He is in season 3, Sarah. And what's even better is he is actually Scottish. But we did get Pelliot back in this episode, and I'm sensing something with Pelliot this season, that this is going to be the last season with Carol Kane.
Yeah.
I think they are gearing her and directing her character towards some sort of departure. And I think it was very evident in this episode, because obviously she's a Lanthanite, you know, her race is ancient. So for someone to sense an ancient evil presence, it would make sense for a Lanthanite to be like that. If they are as ancient as the Gorn.
I think that's the thing. I really liked how they used Pelliot in this episode, because it's the idea of, you know, they bring these artifacts back, and then the idea that Pelliot, who is an ancient being, where we don't know how old she is, but she's been around for thousands of years. Like, you know, she's the Lanthanites are far more long-lived than the Allurians.
Long-lived, wild. I was absolutely livid.
Long-lived as you know, the Aurorians. And I kind of like the idea of her just actually getting frightened by something and being like, no. And there's something wonderful about that.
Can I read the quote? Because I really love this quote that Pelliot did. So, there is evil. Yes, it is.
Yeah, it's right at the end. I was gonna get to it, but yeah, cool.
Yeah, there is evil in this universe, as sure as there is good. As sure as there is matter, as sure as there is light. I know that being was ancient, malevolent, the desire to malign, to pervert and consume. Given corporeal form, if any of those things ever escape that well down there, God help us all.
Yeah. Which I wrote down as something that pissed me off, mentioning God. Like,
really?
Mentioning
really?
God. Like, for a creature like Pelliot to have, like, you know, yeah, it seems odd. Like, it feels
Faith
like
of the heart.
put that line in rather than actually sort of, yeah. Maybe she's using it as an actual sort of, like, because it's a human phrase, or she's trying to be dramatic, because obviously the bit that comes after is her doing a joke of, like, you know, being her light-hearted self and switching to kind of going, hey, do you want me to do that again for the cameras? But I don't know. I don't like the idea of God being mentioned in Star Trek, because we're beyond all of that now.
Well,
and she definitely would be, you know?
We did have the Lord's Prayer. Let's not forget, we had the Lord's Prayer from Pike as well. So there is a definite religious theme going on in this season of Strange
for the humans. But
for the humans,
yes. You know, the idea of Pelliot, it's like if Spock mentioned God, you know, like it said, God help us all, you just be like, well, Vulcans are too logical for that, you know, like they're, you know, it's like, and the Klingons are like, well, they can't help us because we killed them all. But
Vulcans don't have deities, they have slutty fathers. We all know that.
Vulcan loves slaves.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be boring as all hell? Anyway, but yeah, no, but the Pelliot situation I really like. I like that they got her back. They had her in. I'm annoyed that they haven't been using her as much in this series, and I just got this dreadful feeling that she's just not going to show up that much. Like, even next episode, when it would be perfect to be like, hey, Pelliot was really important in the last episode, I think it's going to be another bloody shore leave one of just like, hey, she's not there.
Yeah, I think this is the season
that will annoy me.
Yeah, this is the season we lose Carol Kane. It's getting to that, and Scotty's eventual promotion to chief engineer.
Hopefully she has an episode. Hopefully she has her own episode. But I have a feeling she won't.
I love, though... Oh, The man with the iron shed chest has beamed into the chat. Hello, David.
Why can't you beam into me, David?
You magnificent recreational storage facility of a man. I hope you are well. He went to Niagara Falls yesterday, and because he's that handsome, I don't think the falls were the only thing that was. But
I think he just stepped off it. He's so tall, he just stepped off it and just went, that wasn't very big.
He just crossed countries by simply just walking through the puddle that is Niagara Falls. Yeah. So I want to talk about this. What would you call it? Not a temple, but like an ancient structure that we.
I think that. Okay, so we are going all over the shop with like.
We really are.
So basically, what if you haven't watched the episode? Watch it. But we're not going to try and do it blow by blow for you because there's so many topics to discuss in this. So we're just going to kind of get to them, and we haven't had time to do we talk about it in this order like we might usually do. So we're just going to talk about the points as we bring them up. The interesting thing about the episode is that we think it's a temple. We're led to believe it's a temple. And, Roger Corby says, oh, yeah, it's a temple. It doesn't seem to be. By the end of the episode, they kind of realize that actually it's not a temple. And Laan says it's a prison. And there's something fascinating about that. It kind of harks back to Red Dwarf, I think, where they find like a wreck or something and they go on it, and then when they're there they're like, oh, this is a prison ship and it's full of like absolutely crazy dangerous people. I'm sure that there is that episode. It's not the Inquisitor one, but it's one
not the latest season. It's not the latest season one with the
like
Mad AI
or something.
Oh,
it's like
right,
season 3 or 4. But that episode where they're like, oh, this is not what we thought at all, this is actually really dangerous. Because it's the one where they have to put the boots on, where they have to sort of put the mechanical boots
yes.
But yeah, anyway, I love that idea. I love the idea of, because the technology is so different, they're looking at it being like, oh, this is very ornate, it must be some kind of temple and stuff. And it's like, no, they just have different storage facilities for prisoners, where what we find is that the prisoners are all stored in these little glass orbs, these glowing sort of like yellow orbs, and each one of them seems to have something stored inside it. And the first one we encounter is the one that explodes in Gamble's face and blows his eyes up and releases some kind of malevolent ghost, effectively, that possesses him.
I think it's very interesting as well with this temple / prison that not only did they contain them in these like grenade type units, that the containment was then contained in another dimension within the facility. And again, this is pure Star Trek, where it's just like, hey, we've got this room, and these Tomb Raiders are obviously dead because everything got locked. And then when they go into the other room that they find, and that, spoiler again, but they're all on different dimensional planes, and every room is different as well. And I love this because it's just like, they don't go, oh, well, it's a different room and a different thing, or this is like, no, it's the same location just on a different dimensional plane, and we have stored these creatures in this room but on a different plane to this, and I was just it's actually genius.
It's really clever as a containment system, like because what we work out is we have it where when Chapel goes in, when she unlocks the temple, she basically has to give a gift of blood, and it does the whole trope thing of going. Corby's basically like, gonna get the knife, he's gonna do the slice across the palm.
Good old Indy.
Everyone does it, and he's just like, smaller cuts, man, like flicking, every time you see it in films, and they're like, why do you slash across your whole palm when you need like a drop? But anyway, he's ready to do that, and she's like, no, goes up to the thing, and then it literally just puts a little needle through, gets a tiny little drop, and then that's enough. Because what it does is it gets her genetic signature, and then effectively treats her as the prison guard. And then it means that all of the doors, you can't go to the doors without her being there first, or it'll set off defenses, and we see someone get basically like blown up, like someone, like someone destroyed because they tried to go through the door without Chapel there. And that is genius. So it basically means that the guards have to come into the prison, put their DNA on file, and then the prisoners can't escape without that person. So they can't hurt the guards because they need them to get out, and they can't. And they need the guards to actually get across all the planes because they all get split up between different planes, and they'd have to work together or have some kind of communication between everyone. So it's just a genius idea for a prison facility, really.
There's also, like I just mentioned there, the indie themes. There is a couple of nods to Indiana Jones within
There's
this
a
show,
few nods to
episode
other
as well.
things in this as well.
Well,
Yeah.
we'll get to that. Yeah, we will get to that. But again, like I said at the top of the episode, this is pure Star Trek. This is just Star Trek exploration at its very best, but it's only let down by the lack of like satisfying explanation for certain things. They don't have to explain everything because everyone loves a mystery, but when you allude to a certain amount of things and there is no payoff, it leaves you rather frustrated because you become so engrossed in the episode, you become so engaged, and then you want to know, why is this? What is that? And then you just don't do anything with it. Now I know there's I know that they're gonna lead to the Vazda later on because they allude to it at the end of the episode. But there was just certain things within the temple, like the statue of the being that they said, it's both existing. It's in quantum flux, so it's both existing and not existing. It's both alive and not alive.
Yeah.
We get nothing for that. The Chinese writing, we get nothing for that. And it's sort of like you develop these great little things that, that entice the audience. And like, for one, when I was watching it, like, yes, I was tired, but the more I watched it, the more awake I got, the more engrossed I got in the episode, because it was like mystery upon mystery upon mystery, and I'm like, this is what Star Trek is, man. This is good. This is, you want to explore these ancient things and stuff like. And we just didn't get that payoff for some of those things. And yes, there's, it's always good to have a little bit of mystery and always good to have something that we'll never know. But don't go to the effort to go, oh, why is there Chinese writing in this ancient temple? Oh, well, and then move on to the next thing.
I think though that we're being overly critical because it's a modern show. Because when you think back to TNG, like the episode in TNG with the Iconians, that doesn't explain anything. That just goes, oh yeah, they've just got all these teleporty things and we can use them and stuff. And and you're just kind of going like, that's got loads of holes in it as well. But then we kind of just, we don't really question it in the same way, and that's never been explained, like how their technology works. Combat.
I
when
really
they get
hope
back in DS9, they don't get elaborated on.
Yeah,
but
I really hope though.
People want to.
Yeah, I mean, like with the Iconians, that topic was expanded vastly in Star Trek Online. With this, I think this is. We haven't said this for a while, but this is worthy of a second contact, and we will get a second contact because it's been alluded to. But I think this is like worthy of a bigger.
Well, I even think
a bigger focus.
Maybe this could be the Iconians. Like, it's the idea of, because the fact is, just because they haven't picked up on it, but when you think about it, the Iconians, we know about them 100 years later with Next Generation, where you've got people like Data, you've got like archaeologists like Picard being like, oh yeah, here's this thing. Like, this could be the first thing we ever find of the Iconians, and that's how it kind of goes. But what we do know, though, is that this is a race that has been around for like ancient times. However, has been active recently. So they even have Chinese writing. So Chinese writing is relatively recent, and it's the idea of going, so this is a race that like is still around somewhere or has recently been destroyed, kind of thing, because they've obviously gone round, they've traveled the galaxy, however they've managed it, and they've encountered all of these races and stuff enough so that they found bad races in order to imprison them. So they've come across stuff like what we see in this episode is we see what's it referred to as, the Vesda life
The
form.
the Vesda.
Demon for
Vesda.
effective, or
Yeah,
the
yeah.
demon for an effective word. And we also see a Gorn in there, which suggests that they're pretty ancient as well. And there could be plenty of others, but it means that this race could have been fairly recently active, I think.
Can we talk about Gamble?
Yes.
Can we talk about how I am devastated about what happened to him, because this is the first episode where we finally get some exploration of this character, and now he's gone.
Yeah.
But
It's annoying. I am annoyed about that. But...
Such a good actor. He's such a good actor in this episode. And the relationship we see between him and Umbenga, this could have been explored a little bit more before this episode as well. That bonding that Umbenga has with Gamble could have been explored a little bit more.
This is the whole thing, though. It's like what we're seeing a lot of events setting up Umbenga's journey in the series, where we
either demotion or leaving or something. Yeah.
Well, that's it. Things are getting pretty heavy for him, so he could just go, "Hey, I can't do this anymore," and leave. But it's the fact of we saw him being an assassin and kind of coming to grips with that. But we've also got him where he's making bonds with people. He's kind of going, "Hey, cool. I can't be overprotective of everyone. I'll let sort of this ensign go on this away mission because he really wants to do it and stuff, and I'll let my guard down." And then what happens to him? Like, it's the idea of the fact that the episode ends with him having to make the call to Gamble's family and be like, "Yeah, your son's dead," is and you kind of just go, that's Umbenga kind of going, "Hey, maybe I should sort of be a bit more lenient and sort of relax a little bit," and then immediately getting punished for it. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with him after.
Do you see parallels with Spock's character in this season as well?
Yeah,
I
think
definitely do. Yeah.
What we're gonna see is we're gonna see La'an getting better with things like she is. We're gonna get her opening up, and then there being some kind of ending to that. But also Spock basically closing off. Like, Spock basically tried to open up. He's tried to embrace his human side, and he's gonna get heartbroken. He's gonna have all this horrible stuff happen where he just goes, "Hey, actually, being a human's too hard. I'm just gonna be a logical Vulcan," and that's how he is in the original series. And what we're gonna see with Umbenga is him just going, "Yeah, I can't do this anymore. I just have to work on a farm somewhere."
It is so fantastic, though, that we can talk about a show that literally has 25 episodes under its belt thus far, and just see the sheer amount of character development, progression, evolution.
The characters have names, Goodwill. The characters have names. Can you believe?
But in but in 20, like, compare this, right? Compare this to one season of The Next Generation. In 25 episodes of TNG, we didn't have anywhere near enough development of the characters or exploration of their personas in those 25 episodes than we have done in the 25 episodes of Strange New Worlds. It is insane how good the writing is, how good the acting is, and how you can actually see the evolution and the pivotal shift in people, like we said with Spock, with Umbenga, from going to these, like, caring and to shutting themselves off or becoming more distant, or like we see La'an going in the opposite direction of being very closed off, very reserved, to finally opening up and embracing the more positive things in life,
living her life.
And it's just insanely good how they have been able to do this. And like I said, they have a very limited amount of episodes per season to do this, and they've only got 21 episodes. No.
But here's the thing, though. It is great that they're doing it, but how do you... But obviously, over the last couple of episodes, we've had a lot of fans saying, "Oh, they're spending too long doing romance plots and stuff like that." And do you think that there's people who would have preferred it to be a slower burn? Like, do you think maybe Strange New Worlds is doing too much with its characters? I mean, I'm personally loving it, but the fact is there does seem to be an element of the fan base who are saying, like, oh well, why is Spock having romance stuff? They should be exploring the stars and stuff. Because are we having episodes that are hampered by that, like the actual plot and the what's happening in the episode hampered by, oh look, they're doing dancing. Oh look, they're having personal conversations and stuff. Like,
I will say
it's very different from TNG.
Okay, so settle in for this one. Get comfortable. Get your pile cushion out. Two things. One, if you believe that, have you ever seen DS9? Two, Star Trek is not just about the exploration of the final frontier, it is the exploration of ourselves, of our person, of everyone else around us. It is the journey that everyone goes through life for themselves and for everyone else around them. Star Trek has always been fundamentally about that. It's not just seeking out new life. It's pushing oneself. It's evolving one's sensibilities, evolving one's knowledge, and essentially evolving yourself. Just evolving yourself. And what we see in Strange New Worlds, it nails it to a T, because it brings the wonder, mystery, and joy of the original series in the terms of like alien exploration and stuff like that. As we see in this episode, like I said, I was extremely engrossed in this because this is Star Trek at its fundamental best. But we also see that exploration of the characters, their relationships with one another, because let's not forget, this is a crew on a confined vessel doing these, boldly going. They have got nowhere else, very much like Deep Space Nine. They've got nowhere else to go. And what DS9 absolutely nailed, and we have said this every time we cover a DS9 episode, when something happens on DS9, they can't just warp away to the next adventure. They're stuck there. So the consequences of their actions, they have to deal with after the event. And what we see here in Star Trek, this is possibly one of the first series to do this fully, is something happens on the Enterprise. It's not just forgotten about the next week. It's not just like, oh, well, that's done. She's back at the helm. They deal with it. Yeah. They progress with it. So like we saw with Ortegas, where, she was reckless and, she triggered the Klingons to find them in, the shuttle to Kenfori. There was ramifications for that. And those ramifications were felt in the next episode, which is good. And then it's going to eventually lead to, hopefully, an Ortegas episode. The ramifications of, fingers crossed, the ramifications of Spock and Chapel's breakdown of their relationship are felt in episode 2, and then we see it in episode 4. Roger Corby is there, but we've seen that, the evolution that Spock has moved away from that, but there are still those underlying tensions between him and Corby, and it's like, this is stuff on a ship you can't escape. And it's like any other workplace. Like, if you work in an office or in a close-knit environment with people, something can't just happen and then you just forget about it and move on. It's something that you have to deal with, and that it just gets absorbed in, and then you work through it, and then you move on with it. It's not just, oh, this person did that. Oh, well, I'm going to do... You have to deal with it. You have to address it, because you're all there. It's never going to... They're not going to go away. You're not going to go away. How are you going to deal with that? And I think Strange New Worlds and Star Trek Beyond, for all its failings, Star Trek Beyond nailed this as well at the start of the movie, where in Star Trek Beyond, they were on a 5-year mission, right? So they're 5 years away from Starfleet. There's going to be romance, there's going to be tension, there's going to be friction within the crew. How do you deal with that? How do you cope with that? And we are seeing this translated beautifully in Strange New Worlds all the way through, with Batel and Pike. with Laan and Spock and Chapel and Corby, Uhura and Ortegas's brother and stuff like that.
I think his name's Beto.
Beto, yeah. So, but you know,
he has a name.
It's not.
What a crazy
but it's
world
not
we live in.
always about romance. If you look at Scotty and Pellier, Scotty in this role is the apprentice to the master, but what we are seeing from the master are chinks in the armor. We thought that she was this brilliant engineer. You know, she's fantastic. She's a lanthanite. She's old. She's got all this wisdom, all this knowledge. But then we see chinks in the armor where they go, but no one can understand her logs, and she doesn't want to do meetings, and she doesn't want to do this. And then again with Umbenga, he's a brilliant doctor, but he's got a past and he's got issues and he's got that. And it's brilliant because it showed that they're all flawed.
Well, it shows that they're people. Like, this is the thing that shows don't realize, where they just go like, oh, look, you've got, like, people in the workplace. There's no one who's perfect. There's no one who's, like, the absolute perfect doctor in the world. It's the fact that they all have flaws.
Look at Crusher.
Yeah, well, she's not even a doctor. But it's but yeah, no, look at the Doctor, where it's the idea of just this terrible bedside manner, but then an absolute genius doctor, like the most talented doctor out of any of the series that we've seen. However, like look at well, I think the best example we probably have is Bashir, where it's he's on a different level to everyone else, but then he struggles kind of fitting in or sort of lowering his sort of disgrace. Like, Pellier is probably the equivalent of Bashir for engineering, where it's the idea of going genius, but then can't explain it to people. Like, you know, like, because Bashir's always like, oh, let's try this new thing and let's do this and stuff like that. And everyone's a bit like, you know, like, stop showing off.
I think Pellier is the Pulaski of engineering.
She is competent. I do have a thing. I love Pulaski. I will say Pulaski is one of my favorite doctors.
She is competent, but she doesn't care what you think.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Same as McCoy. Like, she's the female McCoy because she's just like going, I'm damn good at my job and I will do my job and I will save everyone, but I don't want to be your friend. You know, like,
I am here to do a job, and then when it's 5 p.m., I am clocking out. But
but I like that. All the characters are that. They all have depth, and yes, they're exploring these characters through romance plots and stuff like that. But it's not just romance plots. They're just the ones that sort of shine a bit brighter in this. But like we've got the master and like trainee relationship between Pellier and Scotty in this series, and we've got the Ortegas's anger issues, which are from her near-death experience, and you know, Laan opening up, and it's not necessarily romantic, but it's also two people as well. But it's quite good though that we get to see Laan. I'm gonna change the subject here, but I like one of the things that I wrote down is that I like how Laan is. She's a security officer, you know, like, and the fact that she's on the planet being like, don't do that, no, don't stop doing that, and it's a bit like Willy Wonka in this episode, where it's just like, no, don't stop.
But she shows such authority. Do you know what I mean? Like, she is opening up. She is, you know, embracing the more positive things in life. But when it really counts, she is still she is the head of security. She is still she is still the lieutenant, you know, of security, and the authority that she has on this away mission is brilliant. It's fantastic. And what I love about this is as well, and I know we're zigzagging all over, but it's the way that Chapel, despite the fact, very much like Corby, they want to explore this temple. They want to, you know, go in, do these archaeological finds, you know, try and find out what is happening, who this race is, everything like that. But when it hits the fan with Gamble, Chapel agrees and uses logic and goes, yep, as much as I want to continue this mission, we're gonna have to go back. It is not safe for the crew. We have to turn back. And I like that because this is you wouldn't have seen this. We're not bashing on it again, so please don't think we are. You wouldn't have seen this in Discovery. It would have been, but I'm going to do it anyway because this is like, this is mature Starfleet officers.
Because what we see is the uncertainty of whether Chapel is the key to things in there. Like they have this kind of thing of going, oh, what happens if something happens to her? Whereas obviously in Discovery, we'd be like, well, Michael Burnham's going to be the key to this. This ancient civilization will be linked to her DNA in some way, and that she's the chosen one.
The ancient race was the Bermanites. That's
But it sounds so cynical. It sounds so cynical, but I'm still laughing about season 2, where I was just like, I bet the angel's Michael Burnham. And then,
as soon as I saw it,
and then it turns out it's not, and you're like, well done, they tricked us, because they knew that we thought that she was going to be the be-all and end-all of everything. And then at the end of the show, it goes, end the series, it goes, no, it actually was. And you're like, it's just, oh my word, man, it's so bad. But again, anyway, so you're not being mean to Discovery. I am. But yeah, anyway. Yeah, I love, though, that it has to work that way in the prison. And what we see, though, is we see a bad side to Roger Corby, where Roger Corby comes off as a bit of a dickhead in this episode, because he's desperate. He's desperate for this. He wants to learn about this culture. He's been doing this, like, you know, archaeology for so long, and he's excited, but he's risky with it, and he's willing to risk everyone else with it. So even though they've literally just had Gamble get severely injured, he's just like, oh no, we can't leave now. We've got to press on. Like, oh, how about you all go and like leave me behind, and I'll just explore. And you're like, that is the stupidest idea in the entire world. It demonstrates that he isn't a team player. And I think what we're going to see is what we saw in this, where at the end of the episode, Chapel has to put her faith in Spock and go, hey, actually, I do trust Spock with my life, and I do trust his logic, even though Corby's kind of like, no, we've got to find a better way.
I see
that realization of, I think what's going to happen is that Chapel's going to realize that Corby is a bit too brash and a bit too sort of crazy for her, and they're going to break up, and then she's going to realize that she is actually still in love with Spock. But at that point, Spock will have moved on. And that sets us up for the original series, where Spock is indifferent to Chapel, but Chapel is crushing on him all the time.
However,
that's what I think.
However, Chapel and Corby get married.
Do they actually get married?
They get married. So in the original series, they when they reference Corby, they say that it's Chapel's ex-husband, or estranged husband, shall we say?
Well,
because
okay,
again,
so the
Corby,
next episode
Corby
is
becomes
Vegas.
Yeah.
They get a Vegas wedding. Pike's dressed as Elvis this time.
They've drawn they've drawn cat faces on, and it's like, hello, Mr. Corby. That's a Friends reference for anyone who cares. But
No one does.
What? Sorry, I just got a message. I just got a message. Sorry. Yeah.
Is it a sexy message?
No, not really. We see it's again, it's Indiana Jones themes within this episode, where you've got that one character, like, you know, he is essentially the leading lady in The Last Crusade, where, you know, the rest of them learn, you know, this is not worth it. They need to leave, and, you know, it's not worth your life to pursue this knowledge. And he's the one like, no, you know, I can do this, and like you said, even after what happened to Gamble, he's still driven to find that out. And like, it is the first cracks in Corby's character.
Yeah. And it is a shame, because I do like him. Although, to be fair, it wasn't until this episode where I was like, what is Star Trek's obsession with the Irish? You know, as soon as he spoke again, it's like, I totally forgot Corby was like broadly Irish. And it's just that thing of, is it a trope? Is it that you cannot do a Star Trek show without there being Irish characters in it?
Was there an Irish character in Discovery?
Don't think anyone got that far. Probably though, but they probably just didn't get any speaking lines. They probably, you know.
Was there an Irish character in Picard? I don't think there was there?
Definitely. But hold on, chat. Everyone in the chat,
Yeah,
is there
chat.
is there an Irish character in Picard? Tell
Let
me
us know.
if I'm totally. Maybe that's a new poll. Is there always an Irish character?
Um,
Yeah.
but
But
yeah,
no, I like that we got the chinks in Corby's sort of like character in this episode, and I think I quite like it, and I think that's going to be instrumental to Chapel's development. Like, and I suppose actually, to be fair, what I'm saying about her and Spock, they've got to drag this out for like a series and a half.
yes,
They've got
they
to
have.
kind of go like, hey, they do get married at some point, but actually they've got to kind of keep tension between Chapel and Spock.
Yes, they have. Hmm. Uh, so let's talk about Batel and the triggered Gorn DNA that we see when she sees Gamble.
Well, actually, hang on. Before then, let's talk about Gamble properly, okay? We're
Yeah,
annoyed that Gamble, the character, dies because it's great. But basically, what happens is finds his trinket, it explodes in his face, and unbeknown and destroys his eyes. And then Chapel immediately sort of has an argument. She leads him out of the prison, and then gets him teleported back to the Enterprise. And then Benga starts sort of like trying to heal his eyes. Now, this is questionable because obviously with the whole Geordie situation, did this technology exist back then? Because basically Umbenga immediately puts like a thing over his eyes, like a healing visor, and then goes, "Oh, I'm just going to regenerate his eyes." And you're sitting there being like, that sounds like that technology is way more advanced than what we're used to in the original series and TNG. I know Geordie was born blind.
No, he was born blind, but there was a condition that he had where ocular regeneration wouldn't have worked.
Oh, right, yeah.
So the visor allowed him to see visual spectrums. So basically, he was transmitting a signal to his brain to allow him to actually see. And then when we see him in Insurrection, when he's down on the Bakul planet, it's the planet is actively regenerating those parts that were never able to develop. Like they were allowing those parts to finally grow and stuff like that. But obviously, as soon as he gets off the planet, he would lose that again. It is a little bit of a plot hole, but I'm pretty sure that with Geordie,
I would have much
explained
preferred
it. Yeah.
I would have much preferred it if they'd had Mbenga go, I don't know how to do this, but I've got a plan for how we might regenerate his eyes. If they'd done it as a kind of, okay, let's see what we can do here, but the way he treats it is like it's a standard thing. We'll just regrow his eyes, and it just felt a bit jarring to me. But basically, what we have, and it's fascinating this because we have basically Gamble, panicking, being very human reactions to, being blind and freaking out and stuff. But Mbenga does a scan on him, and it comes back with brain death. It basically says, hey, there's no brain activity in him anymore. He's not actually doing anything in his brain.
That was
and
so
Mbenga's
interesting.
and Benga's like, how are you still doing things and whatnot? That's the scary thing. And then the episode goes on, and then basically we get it where Mbenga's got his back turned, and then Gamble starts talking to him about his daughter. Starts talking to him about Mbenga's daughter, things that Gamble could not possibly have known about. And this is the terrifying thing. He says, how did you know that it was her and not just a random creature that took her away to destroy her, like to drink her blood or whatever? And we'll get back to that. I'll back to that in a moment. But then later on, Batel comes in to get her latest sort of injections and stuff to deal with her hybridizing with the Gorn. And then as soon as she senses Gamble there, she freaks out. She becomes incredibly primal.
Yeah.
And then the two of them have a fight. Mbenga gets knocked out, but then honestly, this is ludicrous. Like in a worse show, this would be the stupidest moment of the whole episode. Like genuinely, the idea of going, oh, she's got some Gorn DNA in her, so she suddenly becomes like acting
It
like a sort of
takes
lizard
over.
person. Yeah,
Yeah,
it takes over, and then she's like instinctively fighting, and then he's walking around with no eyes and able to sort of punch her in the face, and they've both got super strength now. It's my worst bit of the episode, and I
yeah.
love the idea of it, but it is the bit where you're just going like, hang on, we've jumped way too many steps here. How is she got super strength? How does she have super strength now? How is he seeing without eyes? And we assume it's just the demon or whatever, but it just feels a bit like, we got here too quick. This should have been a two-parter.
It
Or we had more explanation, because we haven't had any exploration into Batel. This is literally the first mention of going, hey, after the hybridization process, you've got some Gorn tendencies. And it doesn't sort of address that in tech. It does in speech or whatever, or over a couple of episodes. It just immediately goes, hey, she turns into a feral Gorn. And you're like, okay, right? That
just
seems like something a lesser show would have done.
it just
I can't believe I'm being so harsh. I've loved this season so far.
No. I mean, we're not saying that this is a bad episode by any stretch of the imagination. We absolutely loved it. It's just there are these things that need to be either addressed or, justified why they were there. And with Batel and Gamble's fight, what triggered it? Will we get a payoff for that? Will they link the Gorn and the Vazda or anything?
Will they, the Gorn and this entity, are they ancient enemies? Can they sense each other?
Exactly.
Each other at a distance? But I kind of hate that. Like that's a sci-fi trope. The idea of we've been enemies for millennia and we can sense when someone's possessed by one of these creatures and stuff. And you're going like, she's just a woman with some Gorn DNA in her. It's this idea of going, oh, it feels tropey.
It was very weak, but again, this is when we went to shuttle to Kenfori and we had that scene with Batel and Spock.
Yeah,
it just, I don't know. It disjoints.
It foreshadowed it, but it didn't feel like it needed to be in that episode. The whole Batel thing feels like that should be episode 7 that we're getting to this fight.
And
like, it feels like it must much later in the series that we go, hey.
And there's certain things, like there's certain things with Gamble, like he throws Mbenga into a wall and then suddenly the red alert kicks off.
Yeah, every time anything breaks,
when he's in the brick, and like he lures the guard, right?
Yeah.
He lures the guard, chokes him out, walks through. Instant red alert.
Yeah.
It did not make sense to me.
Though.
Does it?
The red alert in the prison makes sense. Because you would set that up. You would go, hey, if something actually leaves the prison without, like, the door being down, that would be... I'd put that as a red alert. I'd be like, hey, hang on, something just passed through the force field in the prison. That sounds like a red alert. Like, that would be it. But Mbenga breaking a bit of glass does not feel like it would trigger something. It'd be like, there's been an accident in Medbay. That doesn't... Yeah.
Do you...
But the other one I kind of agree with. But it's also the idea of, like, I don't know, just kind of how odd it is that this entity doesn't make any sense. Like, and I know it's not going to be explored again. Actually, maybe it will. Maybe it's in the computer now, because it alludes at the end of the episode that it's not entirely gone, or that there's something else in the ship. Because it basically, when Mbenga's on the phone, effectively, something shimmers in the control panel, and you're a bit like, oh, okay, what could that be? But it's this idea of, like, we basically have a creature that can possess someone, make them appear alive even though their body is technically dead. They can see without eyes, they have super strength, and they can possess people, obviously, and they can also walk through force fields, and they have all knowledge of someone's past and seemingly knowledge of things from the other side.
Highly evolved.
We would be able to say, like, oh, it's just lying to him. It's just saying, hey, I'm going to say some generic stuff and lying. But the fact is that it knows information about people that it's just met, and knows their actual fears. It's the problem is it's a far bigger character than a subplot in one episode, and I don't know if we're going to get into it. It's even with like is it Armis? Is it Armus? The thing that kills oh god.
Tashiar?
Yeah, the thing that
Armus.
kills Tashiar, it's Armus.
I think it's Armus, yeah.
Yeah, Armus. Yeah, with that, we have a whole episode about it, and it gets explained. It's like, hey, there's a race, and they like purified all of the evil out of their like entire race and bodies, and it formed an entity that is purest evil kind of thing, blah blah blah. You're like, okay, that was kind of explored and explained in one episode. In this one, I'm just like, we have to talk more about this episode with this creature, but it's gone now, and it just got to do lots of stuff, and it feels like
I think we're going to see.
It feels like a MacGuffin.
I think we're going to see
it's a thing that needs to happen.
I think there's going to be I think there's going to be a second contact. I genuinely do believe it's been alluded to, so it's going to happen.
Yeah,
I genuinely.
But I think I do also like the reference here, because obviously there's a very wonderful, clear reference here to Event Horizon, which is one of my absolute favorite films and one of the greatest sci-fi movies ever made, which is surprising considering the guy who made it went on to do the bloody terrible Resident Evil films. But they're awful Goodwill. I tried watching them again last year and I was just like, oh, these are there are no redeeming qualities. But yeah, and it's great that it has Event Horizon, because in that, basically the Doctor takes out his eyes because he doesn't need them anymore. But then he's basically possessed. He's undead, he's possessed, and he's walking around the ship murdering people. And I never thought we'd get an Event Horizon callback in Star Trek ever, but I kind of love it. And it is, and I think the best thing to close off the gamble section from my part is that it feels very much like Gamble was dead from the moment his eyes exploded.
I genuinely believe that, and I was going to ask you about this when Pellier.
That's what Pellier says.
Yeah,
at the end, Pellier goes, "He was gone." Like, that is not him talking right now. Whether she can sense something that other people can't, but when they're all getting held up, Gamble's basically sort of holding a gun to Pellier, saying, "Give me the access codes," and then Mbenga comes in, and basically it's a big standoff. Pellier says to Mbenga, that's not him anymore. There's nothing left there. And then she shoots him and kills him.
I genuinely believe when Mbenga does the scan and it basically shows that he's brain dead. I genuinely believe that is the first and only hint that Gamble was gone. As soon as that grenade exploded, Gamble was gone, and he is just a husk, a vessel for this alien demon, for want of a better term.
And you wonder, because that's it. I've only watched the episode once now, but I want to watch it again just to be like, just to question every single line Gamble says, when he's not meant to be the demon. So every word, when you're just going, so that was the demon pretending to be him, or was it making him work, like with his actual memories and stuff? And it's interesting, the idea of having this thing that can masquerade as someone and knows everything. But it's terrifying on a lot of fronts, because obviously he says something horrible to the guardsman who he kills about how his mum never forgave him. And with from the other side, and then puts on her voice and stuff, which is very Event Horizon. But also says to Mbenga, like, hey, that wasn't your daughter that you gave, though you gave your daughter away to malevolent forces, potentially, which could be the case, and that's a terrifying plot, and that could lead into Mbenga's sort of overarching plot. But I love Pellier's reaction to it, though. I love Pellier's just kind of no nonsense, like, no, that's evil, we need to get rid of this.
Uhura and Beto. Is it just? Can they just get it over and done with? Can they just get a room? For again, want of a better term. There's no tension there. There's no like, will they, won't they, or anything like that. But we're not seeing anything at the same time, and I don't know. Though. It's cute, but it's also frustrating.
he's got a crush on her. She is like playing it coy and being like, "Hey, let's stay professional." He is not professional and whatnot. And I do.
He's a
kind of like
filmmaker. They're never professional.
but I do feel like he's gonna die or something at some point.
Oh,
Like,
don't say that.
He's got
Don't
Richard.
say
But
that.
you know, as in this, because yeah, Ortegas.
How many
we
red
need her
shirts
plot.
die, by the way, in this episode as well? They are dusting off the old TOS
The
trope here, where it's just like, how many necks have we snapped this week? And it's just, yeah. Is there anything else
What about the relationship?
about the episode? Just about the
oh,
episode.
there's a fair bit.
Please,
about the episode,
let's get into it.
but
I'm
with,
so tired. I am
with
zigzagging
their
everywhere.
with their relationship between Beto and Uhura, I like it, but it feels odd though. Like once
It does.
again, it's like, hey, Beto's in this episode, but we totally ignored him in the last one. He wasn't doing anything since he was introduced. No, he hasn't. He literally gets introduced in episode 2, and then just
Yeah, so we have
we didn't even
2
get to
episodes
see
without him.
You know,
Yeah.
And then this one, he comes back, and it's like, oh, magically, him being there is the key to everything. So the only reason that they can look around the rooms and stuff is using his camera, and oh, the only reason that they can do this.
The barmaid.
Yeah, that's it. We still haven't seen the barmaid. And this is the problem where you're just going, why have you introduced these characters when you introduced them if you're not going to do anything with
Because
them?
we're going to forget about them.
Surely just put them in the background of an episode.
Yeah.
Like, because at least with Ensign Gamble, I think he was in all the episodes, but obviously he was just there in the background in Medbay. I think he was there,
Yeah, he
but
wasn't
I
in
don't know if he
episode
got
1, but he
lines
was
or
in 2, 3, 4, and 5. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. And with Beto, there was nothing in the last one. We didn't even.
No.
Did we even see
Not in the last 2
Ortegas in the
episodes,
last
no.
episode?
No, we
Oh,
saw
well, we did,
Ortegas.
but
Yeah,
she was
yeah.
playing
But
a character, but
in the last 2 episodes, we haven't seen Beto.
yeah, and it's a bit too convenient that it's like the
Yeah.
idea of if he wasn't there, they wouldn't have been able to survive. But I do quite like though that I don't know why I wrote this down, but it was they get that moment where he's starting to panic. He's going, "We're never going to get out of here," and then Uhura calms him and goes, "Look, we just need to think straight. You know, don't do that." And he's like, "Oh, actually, yep, you've really reassured me." But for some reason, it kind of felt like that trial by fire during COVID with, like, you know, young relationships where every young relationship was kind of put to the test of going, okay, you're locked with each other for like a year and a half now. Is it as strong as you thought it was, kind of thing? And
Yeah.
I kind of like that they have this little test where they're sort of trapped together, being like, hey, we're not even going out yet, but like they kind of pass it. And I don't know, for some reason that made me think about COVID relationships. Yeah. No, but there's so much more stuff that we could talk about in this episode. We could talk about like Corby and Spock getting stuck together and finding the big well of jars and then of orbs and going, whoa, there's tons of these orbs and they're all down here, kind of thing. And he finds one that's got a Gorn trapped inside it and things like that. And we see Spock scared. We see Spock sort of stand back in shock and be like, oh Christ, what the hell's that? Because obviously it reminds him of his well, actually, this is the thing. I've assumed that's a Gorn.
I tried to find.
We see a Gorn in that in that orb because we see a Gorn, but then it's like, is it actually just triggering the memory that he got from the mind meld with Patel of something he fears? What if all of these orbs are actually trapped with, actually containing the same evil entity that was in Gamble? They just trying to get to them through different fears.
I tried to find a screenshot of what leapt out, but
yeah,
I'm pretty convinced, like you, that the entity within the capsule or containment unit imitated the Gorn, because that is, you know, let's be honest, when he did the mind meld with Patel, he felt the fear, he felt the anger and the fear, and it knew that and it replicated that, and that's what triggered Spock.
But that thing, I mean, the interesting thing is maybe maybe all of the orbs contain the same entity that was in Gamble. We don't know. Like we can speculate. But anyway, more of them. What are we talking about?
The walkway to the door. I want to talk about. Yeah, go on.
the way that they fix the dimensional problem where they all work together, and it just seems a bit odd that you have to do something in every version of the dimension in order to unlock the door effectively.
Yeah, because what happens if there's only two of you?
Yeah, that's it. These are the things I don't like. You know, where you get video games where you get like temples and stuff where it goes, oh, you just need to have these 4 items, and conveniently you've all got them. Like, you know, I'd love to see a thing once where it was like, oh shit, we should have picked that up, shouldn't we? Like,
Yeah.
you're like, what I would have done is I would have had this as a 2-part episode, with the second part dealing with Gamble and the first part all being them trapped in the temple. And I would have had it where the ring that Ahura has, actually she didn't pick it up. She didn't think to pick it up or something. And then they've got to find a way to get back to the dimension that they were previously in to get the ring to do that. I think that would be an exciting thing, and a twist on the whole, oh look, there's a puzzle, and we conveniently, all the people who need to have the things are in the right dimension to put that thing in. It's It's a bit J.J. Abrams, you know. It's a bit sort of, oh well, that was convenient, but that's not really how plot and adventure should work. But
plot armor and plot devices.
Oh, I watched a documentary on the rise of Skywalker the other day, and the mental leaps just because I want to know what happened. You know, where like true crime, where you're like, how the hell did this clusterfuck like come to be? Like, how did no one stop it before this happened? That, you know. And it was, you know, the documentary goes very much into how Rise of Skywalker got as bad as it is.
Oh my god, I'm just envisioning a Netflix documentary, The Last Jedi.
Oh god, man!
Right in the true crime section, yeah.
At least Rise of Skywalker had like enjoyable bits. I don't think Last Jedi had enjoyable bits.
There was enjoyable bits in the Rise of Skywalker.
Well, there's like, you know, explosions and stuff, and we got characters.
C-3PO
like
being turned off was mildly enjoyable.
Oh god, he had to become a Sith, didn't he? And then, but the documentary points out how stupid. The documentary points out how stupid all of that is, because basically C-3PO then translates the Sith language, sends it back to the base camp, and then what's his name? Dominic Monaghan, you know,
the newsreader.
The Rings. No, oh, sorry, Dominic. Anyway,
they drafted in Sky News to translate Sith language.
The guy who was in Lord of the Rings playing one of the hobbits, I totally meant who is at base camp, just reads it and goes, "Oh, this is Sith language," and you're just like, "What? How do you?" You know, and it's
come on.
But just stuff like that, where you're sitting there just being like, so this whole situation happened because you had this thing with. Oh, anyway.
Somehow,
it's all bullshit.
Somehow, Palpatine returned.
But the worst thing is that the books explain it. The books kind of go, "Hey, here's how he returned, and there's this amazing story you could build around this," and it just goes, "Nah, we're just gonna say he cloned himself and just whatever."
I can't. Oh God. I can't get over what you were talking about.
Sorry, chat. We have gone massively over.
I know.
We're not talking about Star Trek. We're just having a rant about the.
I just can't get over what you said last week with the female Jemadar, half Klingon, half female Jemadar, where you were like, they could have just said that, you know, there was a crisis, Ketracel White had run out, and the only species capable of helping them reproduce
got destroyed during the war. There's a reason to make Jem'Hadar that can breed, even if the fact that experiment left over from the end of the war.
But the fact that you did that so eloquently and brilliantly, and then the people running Star Trek socials just went, "They've always been females."
Yeah, and like, this is the thing with like Rise of Skywalker and J.J. Abrams and stuff. It's like, if you had these weird things that are happening and then you justified them, that would be good. But then he just goes, "Oh, it's a Sith dagger that just happens to be in this shape." I can't, man. The Sith dagger thing.
That's not.
It's the most ludicrous thing. But it's the idea of going, so as long as nothing moves over 1,000 years, you know, as long as nothing moves ever on the Death Star, this collapsing mass.
Oh,
you know, like
you know, the wreckage that will rust
We don't have
in
earthquakes
salt
on this planet, you know. It's
in salt water. It will definitely not rust and fall apart.
But that's the thing, and it's very much this idea of, with Strange New Worlds, we have faith. The writers are
We
amazing.
really do.
The writers are amazing. The amount of great foreshadowing we have in this, where basically, like, what I love about Strange New Worlds is that when something happens and you go, why couldn't you just do that? Strange New Worlds has already gone, we thought about that. So, you know, like, it'll have stuff where it basically goes like, you know, they go in and then Spock just goes, that's strange, we can't teleport out of here. And it's like, it's just a line, but it explains things later. Whereas other shows would just be like, oh, they just didn't try. They just didn't think, oh, should we try and teleport out of here? Because, you know, it's...
But this is why...
What I say about Rise of Skywalker is, there is no justification there. They just went, this is a thing to get to this thing.
Just
like
because...
Discovery and whatnot, and like I'm fearing about this female Jem'Hadar, they're going like, yes, we could totally put our heads together and think of a great reason why this is here, and there's full justification, and the fans are going to love it, and it's going to get people thinking. But you know that there isn't. You know that there actually isn't any kind of thing. They're just like, we saw the black and white guys from the original series. We didn't watch the episode, but we've put them in Section 31 because they look cool. And you're sitting there like, Christ.
But this is why I have faith in Strange New Worlds with the issues that we have highlighted in this episode, and that I thoroughly believe there's going to be a follow-up either this series or this season or next season, that we will get those explanations, because, you know, there are some things that are best left unsolved, but then the one thing that Strange New Worlds does really well is satisfy the viewers with the outcome, with the end product. So I have every damn faith in this, and we have 5 episodes left. I can't believe we're halfway through this season already.
But I've been loving it.
Same.
Like with last season, I'm adoring this season.
Avoiding spoilers. Avoiding spoilers, avoiding teasers and everything like that has been a huge win this season, because I'm becoming so engrossed in the episodes like I used to in the 90s. It's just amazing. It is just making me feel things that I have not felt for a long time when it comes to Star Trek, and I am absolutely here for it.
I had a discussion with a friend the other day, because I've just finished watching another incredible show that came out, King of the Hill. How have you watched it? Don't tell me.
It's on the list, but yeah, I've heard really good things.
After all the stuff we've been saying about like how great it is that Strange New Worlds is coming out weekly, so we can basically talk about it and savor the episodes, and it prolongs the joy and the experience. I binged King of the Hill season 14 in about a day and a half, and with my schedule, that's really impressive.
That's so impressive.
But the great thing is, though, that I just go, I'm going to watch it again. Like, it's not like when Stranger Things came out and everyone was like, oh, it's 3 a.m. in the morning and I finished it all, and it's like going, well, that's a bit, you know,
good for you.
Oh, you could have, it's like, well, you could have held on a bit, you know, or like sort of, you know, like.
You could have digested it a little bit.
Yeah, but I won't spoil it. But King of the Hill season 14, it's incredible. Obviously, it's a shame that Dale and Khan don't sound the way they do.
Yeah.
Khan, obviously, they had to change the voice for cultural sensitivity reasons. And it's annoying because he genuinely is one of my favorite characters. And Dale, obviously, the actor passed on. And yeah, it's a real shame. But otherwise, it's absolutely brilliant. Like, to take a show 15 years later and then go, here's the same vibe. Like Strange New Worlds, like, there's no way that you could just go, oh, we're going to do another season of DS9. And then just be like, and just, you know, oh, but Odo's gone now, and oh, we don't have we don't have, oh god, Rom's son.
Oh, Aaron Eisenberg.
Yeah, well, Aaron, I was trying to think.
Nog.
I know Aaron Eisenberg, but I was Nog. Couldn't think of that. I'm so forgetful today. My brain is too full of stuff.
We're tired.
Yeah, like you. Yeah, but you couldn't do it with, like, you know, you could do it without them, and it, you know, and you could write around it. But it just, a sensational achievement that they've managed to do it. But now I am going, I want more. I want more. But I'm just going to rewatch all of the old stuff.
This is the beauty of Strange New Worlds and Picard season 3, where they were just like, it's more of the same. It's what you wanted. It's that type of thing. And you know, these are the series and the seasons that the fans have absolutely drank up. They have absorbed these, because this is essentially what Star Trek is. It is two different types of Star Trek, but it is Star Trek nevertheless. And you know, this is what the fans want. So like I said, I know Strange New Worlds is ending after season 5. However, I do have high hopes that with enough push, we may get Star Trek Year 1 with Kirk. We'll just have to wait and see. Do you have any further notes for this episode?
I'm not sure. I think we've talked about everything on it. Like, you know, I want to emphasize how much I like Gamble in it and stuff. One grope I had was how easily the phasers dig up the site. They're sitting on the site, and the lasers from the Enterprise shoot down, and they perfectly, you know, like dig out this temple. And you're a bit sitting there being like, it's a bit clean, isn't it? Like, you know,
they could have said it was like a force field, or like they detected some type of advanced field, or like camouflage, or something like that.
Or it was buried under the rock, and they were just destroying the rock, or something. But it felt a bit too. Oh, that's convenient. But yeah, no, it's. I quite like it, and I quite like the. I want to see more about all of the races involved in this. I want to see more about all of them, and I hope they do get fleshed out. But it does kind of also worry me, though, that we might be getting another overarching plot in this season. And I wonder that it's getting a bit heavy, like top-loaded in this. Where we've got all of it. We've got too many plots happening this series, because we have every character's individual plots. But now we've also got, like, you know, the Gorn. We've also got, like, the... you know, like whatever this is, like this sort of demon thing. I don't know, but yeah, I will say though, I loved Pelia in this. I was so happy to get so much more Pelia, and I like how decisive she is. That she is the one that kills Gamble. You know, it literally has him. Yeah, because what happens in those final moments is a bit cliche, because it's so well set up, kind of thing. Even though they could never have known that this was going to happen. But yeah, so what happens is, Gamble's got their back to Pelia, and then Pelia shoots him. He falls to the ground. The monster, the demon, starts coming out of him, like as an actual physical ghost that you can see.
Yeah.
And then Scotty runs up to it, grabs the two halves of the orb off the table, and we never saw them actually get one of these. We never got told that it got brought back to the ship, or whether they've just created their own one, or it's just weirdly convenient.
No, they beamed the container that was broken back to the ship. Yeah,
because I missed that if they said that's
because that's how they were examining, like so Pelia and Scotty were examining it, and they were trying to find out, because they thought it was a grenade. They thought it was a grenade, and then Pelia and Scotty were like, no, this is a containment unit. This was designed to keep something in it. But my gripe with that is it was broken. Scotty sealed him in it, and then beamed him into the pattern buffer. Yeah. So I'm like, what?
But that's it. Immediately, you're just going like, how you had that set up to just go, hey, teleport this orb back into the pattern buffer, and it could be, and because we do know that Scotty's arc in this season has been how well he works under pressure, about the idea of how quick he is, but it was just a little bit too quick for him to go, oh, I've just told it to teleport this thing that I'm holding in my hand into the pattern buffer. Maybe he had it set up as a backup plan or something like that, but that is interesting. I had not actually thought that he did that. I thought when he said, you know, when Omega goes, where did you teleport it, where did you send it, he just goes, oh, nowhere. I didn't think it was the pattern buffer. I thought he'd actually just destroyed it, got rid of it. But the idea of it being in the pattern buffer, that explains how it's in the computer in the next scene.
Yeah,
That makes perfect
exactly.
sense.
Yeah, and I like the fact that because they're in a science lab, that they have that ability to emergency beam something away or into the buffer or anything like that, and it just seems to make perfect. Do you know what I mean? If you're in a lab and something's going awry, how are you going to put it out? You know, you don't want it exploding when you're in space. Beam it straight out, and I really like that. It's a nice little touch. But yeah, so my only gripe was this was a
perfect explanation.
Yeah,
Goodwill.
my only gripe was it was a broken container, and then somehow he's able to seal it.
Yeah.
And then beam him out. Do you know what I mean? And that's my only gripe with that. But Pellier, I think, like we said earlier, she knew that Gamble was dead. She knew that he was just a husk, a vessel for this alien creature. So she took matters into her own hands when it comes to that.
Do you think it's a good or a bad thing that like the writing on Pellier is a bit lazy? Because they've done the discovery thing of, hey, she's a new race that we've never encountered before, and no one knows what powers she has. So handily, she has powers depending on what we need in the episode. So in this one, she's like, I can sense evil and stuff, and I can sense, when someone isn't actually really them and stuff. And you're going, none of this has been hinted at before. And
it's a Guinan trope.
It's
a Guinan trope.
Yeah.
Like Guinan can sense temporal shifts. Guinan can sense the Q. Guinan can do this, but the Alorians are never really explained. This would have made so much more sense for her to be an Elorian, and then you could have had her.
Pellier came to Earth with Guinan. And then Pellier stayed around. Guinan went back to the planet and got caught up in the bloody vortex and stuff.
But it would have it would have been fucking brilliant if Pellier was actually in episode 2, and then when Trelane appeared, the Elorian senses started go, and then we just go. Do you know what I mean? Or something like that.
It's a big... The thing is, I think in order to not upset us, they're going to have some kind of Lanthanite payoff. There's got to be...
They're going to have to.
I just think that Pelly is just going to leave. I really think that we're going to get to the end of the season, and then season 4 is going to start with, oh, well, since Pellier left, you're the chief of engineering. Like, you're the chief engineer, Scotty. I'm just worried about that because she just seems to be a toolbox for the writers at the minute.
I think it's going to be one of two things. I think eventually this Vazda is going to manifest outside of the computer, either take over the Enterprise or what, I don't know. And I think it's going to be one of two things. Either one, Batel dies.
I think she has to.
Saving the Enterprise.
I know that she doesn't survive, and
saving the Enterprise from the Vazda. Pellier dies. It's leading up to that. One of the two. It's leading up to that. It really is, and I don't want it to happen.
It might end up with one of those weird things of, oh, Pellier's got to contain that entity, and the only way that she can contain the entity is keeping permanent watch over it, so she teleports onto a planet and looks after
something like that. It's gonna be something like that. I can feel it. But we have made predictions in the past, and Strange New Worlds has pleasantly surprised us. So any further notes?
Episodic allows us to do that. If
the speculation is
all of this on the first day, we wouldn't be having these wonderful conversations. We wouldn't be having these building our own worlds and stories and stuff in the Star Trek universe. We wouldn't be having any of that if this wasn't being released week by week. So thank you.
Thank you. Yes. Thank you, Paramount. Just
for
please
milking the one good thing on your channel. Because you know what it came up with after this? When it tried...
Was it Discovery?
After I finished this episode. Discovery would make sense, but Amazon Prime doesn't work in the realms of sense. Like, Paramount will literally... I watched the Silence of the Lambs on Amazon Prime, and the next thing it played was Peppa Pig. Like, and you're like, what? You know, like,
Still a farm animal.
What algorithm is this working?
Farm animal.
I watched something, and I watched something, and the next episode was the new season of Neighbours, and it was just like going, and maybe they were trying to push it, but it was like you've gone from a film to a soap opera show with absolutely no connection between them. Like I don't, but basically the Strange New Worlds finished playing, and then I was writing up my notes, and then it auto played that new bloody War of the Worlds with LL Cool J or whatever.
God.
And you know how when you're on Amazon Prime and it gives these very optimistic star ratings for stuff because it goes like, "Hey, this terrible film, it's
They've
4
had a
stars."
few
Like,
bots on this one.
yeah, but it basically where it usually goes like, "Hey, Last Jedi, 5 stars," and you're like, "That's optimistic. I don't think that's real." This film, it came out, War of the Worlds, start playing it, 1 star, and you're like, "Christ, not even Amazon can fake this one." I kind of want to watch it just to see how terrible it is, but I don't have time till like Wednesday.
I'm going to do a new poll just while we wrap up this show.
For the 5 seconds we've got.
For the 5 seconds we've got left. What would you rather watch? That's a Q&A, you fucking idiot. Start a poll. There we go. What would you rather watch? Star Trek Discovery, War of the Worlds,
You need to put death
2025.
as an option. You need to put death as an option just so that there's a third alternative.
Unaliving.
Yeah.
Vote now, everybody!
Hey. Well, that's the easiest decision I've made this week. Christ.
Immediately, it was just like 100%, and I'm like, wow, we have got some morbid viewers on Trekking Up North.
It just got up and already 3 votes for unaliving so far. That's it.
Do you like Starfleet? Do you like Star Trek Discovery? No, I like the sweet release of death.
I love it that all of the other Star Trek podcasts are really diplomatic and they're just kind of like, "Oh, it wasn't that bad. There's ways to enjoy it, and I love these things." And I'm just like, no. You know, it's just.
We have had a long week. We are very tired. I am not, and I repeat, not going to sugarcoat it at the moment. My BS filter is depleted. I am, but below the bottom of the barrel, I am in the floorboard underneath the barrel. Okay, at the moment. So my ability to give anything is gone. But yeah, I mean, this was another enjoyable episode. I was absolutely engrossed all the way through. I want to know more. Again, I can't emphasize my love of Strange New Worlds. I really, really can't. I have such high hopes for the rest of the season and season 4. I really hope for season 4 there is a 60th anniversary nod. I think they have to do it. It is a.
Will season 4 be out next year? I don't think
season 4 is out. Like season 4 is out next year. No. Season 4 is out next year. It's already been filmed. It is already done. They have wrapped it. It is going to be out this time next year. And then season 5 is 2027. So this is going to be the first time on the decade anniversary since 1996 that we have had active Star Trek series running on television. And the last time that we had that in 96, we had the Voyager Undiscovered Country crossover that we reviewed with Sulu. And then we had A Trouble with Tribbles.
Now, what a great episode that was.
Exactly, the DS9 TOS crossover. Next year, I don't care which series it is, next year, you have to have a crossover. You're gonna have to do it. It is. We just have to do it. It is the 60th anniversary of this amazing franchise that is, you know, like Uhura said in A Space Adventure Hour, this franchise has the power to real people. Who has voted for Star Trek Discovery? What agent of chaos?
I love the
Have you-
descent.
I'd rather watch The Room on repeat than watch STD again. So it wasn't you, Crimson. Was it? Who was it? Who voted for Star Trek
Hey,
Discovery?
people are allowed to like it. I just
No, they are
But yeah.
not.
But yeah,
Was it you, Anthony Rapp? Are you in the chat?
Anthony Rapp, he's in there. But
Is it-
yes,
is it-
thank
is
you
it Doug?
everyone
Is it-
who has watched the episode today. Thank you everyone who joined in. My final thoughts on the episode are: I liked it, but it should have been a two-parter.
Should have been a
That's my
two-parter.
closing on it. Should have been a two-parter. Yeah, no. So thank you everyone who's tuned in. We will see you next Friday, I believe, for episode 6. Is it? Yeah.
I have one pressing question,
Ooh,
and I'm sure the
surprise.
audience all wants to know this answer. Science Officer Synoiz. Will we be live next Friday?
I do not know. I will let you know. Maybe not. Maybe? It's so odd. I need to send some messages.
You
okay?
really do, because me and you know what's happening that weekend.
Yeah.
Yes. So you're going, I will see you next Friday. I'm like, no, you fucking won't.
Oh, maybe we can do it. Maybe I can go on the.
Maybe we can record.
Maybe I can go up on the Saturday daytime. Go up, and then travel up that way. Because I know that I've got to be there on the Saturday night, but we will work it out. Anyway,
We're doing secret debauchery things a week on
Yes.
Saturday that no one else will ever know until we tell people. But yes, thank you to everybody who has joined in tonight. We love and appreciate each and every one of you. If you liked this episode, please click the like button down below. If you haven't subscribed to Trekkin Up North, please give us a subscribe and tell all of your friends about us. We want this channel to grow. Please go down to all of our social media links, especially Instagram, because I am no longer able to live stream on Instagram because we don't have 1,000 followers. So I'm going to spend the next weekend, as I'm revising for my CITB test. Yes, there is an ointment for that. I will be.
CITV.
That's what I thought at the beginning. It's something to do in the field I work in. But
I thought you worked in an office.
no, I work in a field.
Oh, fair.
I'm a scarecrow.
Very red car.
I'm a scarecrow.
Imagine, that's how you were so busy because the crows wouldn't fuck off. You were just like, I've been up there till like 8 p.m. I'm actually quite frightened.
I
I
the
don't
letter
feel like
T.
committing murder anymore. But
Crows.
it's
But
a crow joke. It's a Corvian joke.
it's a crow
Yeah.
joke. Do you know what two
Corvian
crows are? Do you know what two crows are?
Attempted murder.
Yeah.
Right, okay. Things to promote. I will be releasing stuff soon, but yes, keep going. Also, if you are on Discord, join the Trekking Up North Discord. I believe it's probably going to be in the thing somewhere, but get in touch with us. We want to see comments on videos. We want you watching previous episodes and stuff, just in
The
case.
Nerdy Up
'cause
North
it feeds
Discord.
It
In
feeds
the Nerdy Up
Nerdy
North Discord. We
We
don't
are
have a
in the
Trekking Up
Nerdy Up
North
North
Discord. We are a subsidiary. We are an affiliate. We are an umbrella corporation, shall we say? We are a parent
But
company.
get involved and post comments and stuff, because it really helps the algorithm and makes it seem like we are popular, and we are popular because you're watching this wonderful show. And also subscribe. Anyway, I will see you all later. Meow meow meow. And we might be here next week. If we are not, if the planets cannot align for it, then we will work something else out and maybe do a double whammy the week after, or something. We'll work it out.
Double Trekkin. Right. As ever on Trekking Up North, take care of yourselves and each other. Live long and prosper. And finally,
Incoming
You fucked it up. You fucked it up, Goodwill. And finally, may
My
God
middle
help us all.
my middle button works as a switch. That's new. I'm going to bed. Live long and prosper. Take care of yourselves, and as ever on Trekking Up North. Miles.
Miles?
Miles.
Are you under the bed,
Miles. Get under the bed. Delicious cake.